So now that I get to the main part of the video, I'm just basically going to give a kind of autobiographical account of everything that I did over those 3 days. So as this is on the Tuesday, just after work, I got a text message saying that I wasn't supposed to come in on the Wednesday, which immediately excited me. As I'd also got a message from my cousin, Kerry, through Facebook Messenger, asking if I was going to come on the Wednesday, which I saw. It was sent before this, but I saw just after this text. And I realised I'd been given an opportunity to go, again, just to go to the room at the exact same time as she had. So yeah, with that, I went to bed. I got up the next morning. My mum actually went to Aldi on the Tuesday, so also had some chocolate and little things to take with me. But yeah, I got up the next day on the Wednesday and I left the house fairly early with all my stuff prepared. I took 2 bars of chocolate, a kind of sea salt chocolate and a very dark chocolate. I didn't like the dark chocolate first. In fact, this is like a fairly medium-sized bar, medium-sized to small bar. I ate 2/3 of it, probably binned the other third, but there was 4 other bars in it. It actually turned out that a lot later on when I ate the chocolate, I did enjoy it, but that first bar, whatever reason, I didn't enjoy it. But yeah, getting ahead of myself. I ate that at the train station where I waited. I can remember walking up there. I had to go across the bridge. I asked the person that was there where the train was coming. Then I went back across the bridge and I listened to, I can't remember exactly what it was. I can remember, but I can't remember the name of it. Oh yeah, the Enchanted Kingdom. I listened to a bit of the Enchanted Kingdom, which is a MLP fanfiction, and on top of that, also studied some of my Greek, which I'm not doing at the moment. I've actually decided to kind of completely abandon that for the foreseeable future. At least, I might take it up in a few years, but I just can't handle it now. But yeah, that's really relevant. But kind of sat there, I listened to a bit of the Enchanted Kingdom, I studied some of my Greek vocabulary, and I ate my chocolate until the train came. When the train came, I got on it myself, and again, basically just the same. I listened to a bit of the Enchanted Kingdom, and I ate some, well, I didn't eat any dark chocolate on the train because I said didn't like it, I binned it. But yeah, I did that. I studied some of my Greek until I got there. I kind of looked out the window. I was going to record a video of it, which I really wish that I did now. In fact, I may have a very short video of it. If I do, I'll upload it. But I was going to record a few minute video to show it to Hayley, my girlfriend, but never really did. When I got off the train, I found Kerry at the train station. We immediately kind of went for the ferry, and we're rather lucky, so we actually have been the last few years as I can remember, to get on it basically immediately, like 5-10 minutes later. But yeah, we got on the ferry. We were kind of talking throughout the whole thing. Initially, at least on my side, there was the kind of nervousness, the anxiety. I hadn't really seen her for a whole year, as the previous year and the previous year, and possibly, unfortunately, even the previous year after that, I hadn't seen her. So kind of meeting up with her again, there is that kind of, you know, if not seeing someone, even someone that you're very close to for a year. But as with every other time, after about 5-10 minutes, we just both get back into it, and we're talking as thoroughly, as excitedly, and as naturally as we had as if we'd only seen each other the previous day. So yeah, we did that. We got on the ferry. I can't remember, we must have talked on the ferry, but I can't remember much about that. After we got off the ferry, we immediately looked for my auntie, my little brother and whatnot. We looked in the castle first of all. we couldn't find them there. Then we found them in the kind of main street and around the town. We kind of picked them up, we looked about for a bit, we looked in a few shops. We saw a few things like a few cups, a few little bits and bobs. I saw a Fox cup and a different cup, I can't remember what they were. But they were both £18, so yeah, I didn't get them, although Kerry being Kerry, she naturally got one the next day, on Thursday. After that we got the bus back to the caravan. My little brother Lewis had a kind of small dinosaur car thing, and him and Tyler were playing with these guns with little bangers in them. But yeah, we got back to the caravan and it was just nice to be there. Oddly very familiar, as it always had been. We kind of stayed there for a little bit, sat about, talked, just kind of really being there. We then went to the shops, had a little look about there. It was, again, as it had been every year, it was quieter, there was less stuff in it, unfortunately. After that we went to the club for a bit, which was really a massive downgrade from what it had been. I mean, there was probably half as many games as there was there in terms of arcade machines. Then we went to the little kind of cafe restaurant. Kerry got a few drinks, and that was it. We didn't really order anything there. But yeah, we sat there for a while. Then we went back to the caravan. After that, me, Kerry, Lewis, my auntie Margaret and Tyler all went out to go to this kind of, I can't remember what it was called, but this kind of lock place. We ended up walking through the usual forest to it. Also, it's worth noting that we'd never been there before. But yeah, we walked through the forest. It took quite a while, as you can imagine, everyone being there. It was rather bothersome, kind of difficult to get through with everyone, but we got through it up until a kind of a busy but quiet road, if that makes sense. We walked down the road to a big path and we just kind of followed the path around until eventually we got to the lock. I was the only one that went near the lock though, as it was kind of enclosed behind a bench in which there was probably 3 or 4 dozen kind of sheeps and rams. So naturally, Kerry and my little brother, they kind of climbed over the fence, they walked up a little bit, but they immediately retreated. So I was the only one that really kind of went forward and went really any distance with that. I did get fairly close to the sheep, of course. Not too close. I certainly didn't pet them. I certainly didn't get anywhere within kind of reaching distance of them, but I got decently close. Also collected a clump of wool on the ground. There was also a kind of a flock of about half a dozen to a dozen geese there in the distance a bit that I saw. Yeah, I just kind of climbed over there. After that, I get back over, we kind of just walked down the hall and get back to the caravan. Although before we did that, we got to, I really just wish there was more time that I had there to explore these places, but and again, it's so inane, it's so small, so something no one else would think about. But we got to the kind of fancier bit of the caravan park as we were coming back. We got to the kind of lodges and bigger places, to a part that we hadn't really been before, despite being there for again 15 years. I think we'd only really been up there about 2, maybe 3 times, and we'd never been this far into it. We'd never been into it for this long. So it looked like a completely different caravan park, despite that it was the same. It was just kind of covered and blocked off by a big series of hedges and bushes. But yeah, regardless, we walked around there for a bit until we got back to the caravan, and that was basically it for the day. Again, this is all taking course over several hours, everything I've explained. we just kind of settled into the caravan. I talked to Hayley a lot that night. Unfortunately, she broke up with Addy. So I was there to kind of comfort her and console her, and again, just be with her. And we watched a little bit of an anime. I believe it was Komi Can't Communicate, which we watched. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Komi Can't Communicate, which I really enjoyed. After that, I went to bed, and that was that for the day. Getting up the next day, on the Thursday, I once again talked to Hayley for quite a few hours, and actually delayed going out of the caravan for as long as I could, because again, Hayley had just broken up with Addy. So again, I wanted to console her and comfort her as her boyfriend. So I talked to her for quite a bit before I inevitably left with Kerry. It was only really me and Kerry that left. I wanted to go up to the club again, but we ended up not going. We just kind of went straight down the main hill, walked straight up the beach until we eventually reached the ruins. Again, like we had before, we looked in a few kind of shops, a few kind of places. We looked at kind of cafes and whatnot. Also, I should say that one of the cafes that we went to last year that Kerry really liked was closed. But the kind of signs and that for it were there, the same kind of paint. You could tell that it was there, but it was shut. It just wasn't open, it was closed completely. Again, closed as in closed permanently. So yeah, that was a disappointment. We would have probably went there, and I would have probably gotten or something there if it was open. Last year I didn't get anything for myself or her, simply because I'm very stingy, and I don't like that kind of thing. But yeah, regardless, I carried on from that. We looked at a few shops, a few bookshops, charity shops, that kind of thing. And I believe we also noticed this on the first day. I should also say, linking back to the first day, we went to Morrison's, which I forgot. And, no, sorry, this would have been the Thursday, would it have been? Yeah, this is the Thursday we get that. So, again, the day that I'm talking about. No, sorry, definitely, yeah, it would have been the Monday. I believe it was a squash, I can't remember exactly, and we named it Harold. And I actually asked Kerry what she thought the name if it was on the Monday, if we were kind of walking up the hill, like she had to name it, and she also named it Harold, which again is a very interesting coincidence. And the reason that I bring this up is because in a few years previous, we would always buy different kind of fruits, different kind of vegetables, and throw them in the water. So the first year that we did this, when we were probably about 15 or so, we bought a watermelon. We called it Lenny the Watermelon, and again, I can remember this very vividly. We probably bought that on the Monday or the Tuesday, and again, leaving Friday. And we kind of dressed it up. We drew fake sunglasses on it. We had kind of colourful pink, blue, yellow, different kind of feathers on its head. It's like a kind of crown before we threw it in the water. And the next year we had a pineapple. I think those may have been the only 2 years, although I'm sure we discussed it different years. But yeah, this year we had Harold, the squash. Unfortunately, we didn't dress him up. I just kind of threw him off on the last day, just as we were about to leave. But yeah, getting back to the Wednesday, we kind of looked about till we eventually went to Morrison's. Kerry got a few things for herself. I got a carrot juice for myself, which I didn't enjoy, although the bottle would come in handy later on as we continued up. And this is also another aspect of it. Every single year that we've been there, we've kind of seen new places, explored new places. Every year has always been something new, some new place that we haven't been to. despite having me going there for 15 years, there was always at least one new thing. Although again, this year it was two new things, given the lock that we saw on the Monday and this lock that I'm going to talk about. But yeah, I took my carrot juice, a few other things that I got from Morrison's. Well, mostly a few other things that Kerrick got from Morrison's. And we walked up the kind of street, the road, along to some of the charity shops that I'd been with Kerry to the last year, in which I'd found a small pink fox, which can I deeply treasure now. As a memory from the noon, from that year, and still have. Yeah, but we walked up there. We continued up that street further than we'd ever went before, until we got to kind of wooded, naturey bit. Reaching this area, there was kind of a big path, and honestly it was really beautiful here. Lots of thick trees, lots of plants, lots of kind of hilly, mountainy, big drop. There was electric wires or something which led over one of the particular interesting views, which really actually kind of added to it in a way. It kind of looked like tight ropes or jump ropes, like the kind of things you slide across, something like that on. But yeah, we continued up that for a little bit, just kind of exploring it, feeling our way around, not knowing exactly where we were going, but vaguely knowing the destination, knowing that it was a lock at least. But yeah, we continued up there until we finally got to it. And when we got to the end of it, we reached a big hill, like, it wasn't massive, but of course, the first time you're seeing it, the first time you're climbing it, it seems a lot bigger than it does when you're going down it, when you're actually leaving the place, you've been there a few times. So yeah, we climbed the hill, and immediately as we got up it, we saw the lock kind of overlooking it, and it was a lot bigger than we thought it would be, and it was beautiful. There was, again, really beautiful scenery, trees, wildlife, bushes, all sorts at the back of it, hills way in the background, that kind of thing. And there was also an old man fishing at the other side of it, on a small kind of pebbly area. But yeah, we kind of looked about the lock for a bit. I decided to dump my carrot juice so that I could get some of the lock water to try it. We also found a dam, which momentarily kind of considered jumping down into. Obviously the less steep bit and the bit with no water in it, to kind of collect some water, although ultimately, although I'm sure it would have been fine, I never did this because, again, just there was no point in it. I knew I was going to get water anyway. So yeah, we walked right around the dam to the opposite side where the old man was fishing, and we just kind of looked about some of the stones there, some of the pebbles, and I got a good bit of water. I would say I drank almost a full bottle of this, probably 750ml carrot juice bottle, of water from that lock. It was nowhere near as nice as the water from Loch Eck, but actually it was rather a bit disgusting. But it was still drinkable, it was still edible in that way. And I did enjoy drinking it just from the experience, and again, it's the kind of thing that I'm going to remember 5, 10, 15, 20 years even further down the line. Even though it is such a small thing, it again adds to the kind of tapestry, it adds to that Pacific Square that is that year. So yeah, I drank that, and then I collected a little bit for the way home, which I still actually have in the house, and I plan to, every successive year that I go there, for as long as I have the bottles, to collect water from different locks and have it all be kind of mixed together, just like tiny different little bits from different locks. So I have this like big bottle of all the different mixtures, kind of in semi-equal proportion. But yeah, we enjoyed it there. Unfortunately, we didn't talk to the old man, but again, I get my water. Me and Kerry, of course, were talking throughout the whole thing, as we had been the entirety of the Monday. Sorry, I might have been saying that by accident. The entirety of the entirety of the Wednesday and the Thursday. Us only being there for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Yeah, we kind of talked a lot throughout the whole thing before we eventually left, doing a full circle for the lock. We then went down that hill I was talking about, which again, actually we didn't go down the hill, sorry, we went kind of around it, and as I said before, the second time that you see it, it seems a hell of a lot smaller than the first time, especially when you're walking up it. After that, we kind of just walked back the way we came, which again, going off of that principle, seemed a lot shorter than when we went up. But with that, I think I'll close off. Again, I know that I'm maybe not describing this in the best light that I could, with as much detail as I could, and there are probably a lot of ways in which I'm over describing it, but just everything that I've described I have such a vivid and such a fond memory of. This video is really only supposed to spark that, to get a kind of come back to it, and at least for me, I know exactly what I'm talking about, exactly the same smells, the same sensations, the same feelings, conversations, the things that I've seen. Again, it's all very vivid and very animated in my mind, so even if this isn't as detailed as it could be, I'm remembering everything off it. And I'm going to make a part 2 of this video, or I suppose a part 3 hopefully tomorrow. Also, just to finish off the video, on this day, on the Thursday, also found and this is going back in the topic of seeing things that I'd seen the previous year in some of these charity shops that we'd been into. I found a book outside the main bookshop in the place on a kind of table where you can buy them very cheaply, kind of second-hand books, called The Rainbow, which I'd seen the previous year, and for that specific reason I put £1 in the box and I took it. Again, just as a kind of memory of the place, both of this year and the last year when I first saw the book. But yeah, I should close off the video and I'll continue the rest of it hopefully tomorrow.